Hello, welcome back to the channel. I am Shelby Harveaux. I'm a real estate agent here in DFW, and I'm here with Matt.
Yep, Matt Ballmaier. I'm a local DFW mortgage broker here, and today we're going to talk about some mistakes that people make when moving to Texas, and some of it's based off of maybe things they've heard or stereotypes about Texas or just the DFW metroplex in general. And so we're going to kind of maybe debunk some of those or dig deep into them so you have some proper expectations when thinking about moving to the DFW metroplex.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes is clumping Dallas and Fort Worth and the metroplex as a whole all into one. Like, I go here, this is what I'm going to experience.
Yeah.
Because Fort Worth is much different than Dallas. Frisco is much different than like Bedford or Euless. Like, there's all these pockets. You can go probably within 5 to 10 miles in different areas and feel like you're in a different spot. Whether you go from like more of a flat plateau to some rolling hills, which you don't get a whole lot of rolling hills here, but you can find it. You can find it. There's pockets. But you can go from very like new development, fresh feeling to old established neighborhoods. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that buyers probably make, especially coming from out of state, of thinking like, oh, well, if I want to live in DFW, I can just start, picking. Yeah. It's really, you need to know what kind of lifestyle do you want to have. We'll get into this a little bit later, but like commute, things like that, all of that makes a big difference here in DFW. Do you have anything else to say? I feel like
I would agree. I think Fort Worth has a very, very different feel. And we've talked about this on other videos than Dallas does. And then the surrounding cities, right? Everybody wants to move to a specific city for a specific reason, whether it be family friendly. Some of them are historic districts. Some of them are brand new builds. Like you said, and everything around it is new development. Yeah. Some of it almost feels a little rural, but it's actually super close to a lot of amenities, right? So
which is fun mix.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah. So it really just depends on what you want, why you want it, and understanding what's a good fit for you. And so we're going to talk about a little bit of that. So first off is commute, right? Because again, even traffic in Fort Worth versus Dallas versus on the suburbs can all be very different.
I think commute is such a huge one. Now, this goes person by person. There was a time where I was commuting from a suburb called Bedford all the way into Addison, which is on the other side of Dallas. It was about a 45-minute drive, up to an hour each day, each way. And I kind of loved it because it was like alone time. Yeah. But if that doesn't fit your lifestyle, or if you're not wanting to pay tolls, gas, or if you're not wanting to waste that much time on the road, then you really need to understand what pocket you need to be in for where you're going, because there's different highways. I listed a few down here, but like 35, 114, 820, 635, they all get very congested at rush hour especially. And some of them honestly are kind of congested no matter when you're driving, except for maybe on a Sunday. And that's definitely workable, but we need to understand what fits your lifestyle. So again, Dallas-Fort Worth is very spread out. I grew up in Minnesota, and then I also have lived in parts of California. And I remember when I came back to Texas after living in those other places for a little bit as well, I realized just how expansive the land is here. And so if you're like, oh, I'm going to go from Fort Worth to Dallas, depending on the route, that could be an hour
or more. Yeah, but when you look on a map, sometimes it doesn't feel...
You're like, oh, they're right here.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very far away. Yeah, and I still do that, right? And I've been here for a while now. And so, thinking, okay, well, I can work here, but I really like this area is, hey, do I want to commute an hour plus each day?
Yeah.
And so something to consider. Now, number two, I would say looking only at the home price, right? Because I think when a lot of people come from out of state, especially California, they see what you can get here. And so they just start to look at the home price only, but they're not really seeing what else is around, meaning school district. They're not looking at the commute to work. They're not looking at how close am I to the airport if I want to travel. Then on top of that, what they're not looking at too are things like insurance and taxes, which can be very, very different here. So for instance, we have things called, pit taxes, mud taxes, and those are all to help pay for the infrastructure for a lot of these new builds. So,
and they're not on every home.
Not on every home. Yeah. No, so not on every home. However, on one community, you might be paying 2%. And another community, some of them, especially like in North Texas, some of them could be close to 3% if you're paying pit taxes, mud taxes, you're paying the rest of the taxable entities for all of your other property taxes. And then a steeper HOA could easily be, I've seen them as high as $15,000, $16,000 a month, even for a, $800,000 house.
Yeah. I think one thing that I wouldn't have even thought to think of before owning is utility bills. And this would go more into age of home or build quality of home that you kind of don't think of. You're just like, oh, that fits in my price range. I like the neighborhood or whatever. But like, I live in a 1960s home. The insulation ventilation is a lot different. The windows, everything else has been pretty much updated, but the windows are older, things like that. So our heating bill, or well, heating gets a little up there too, but the AC bill in summer is like astronomical. If I could go back and tell little Shelby, like, hey, wait. And so it's not always apples to apples. A 1960s home that is $600K, but a brand new build that has been built properly and well, that's $600K, maybe a lot smaller, but your monthly may look way different due to the utilities and other upkeep on that. So I think that's what we're trying to say too, of like, when you just see the price of the home, you've got to put in a lot of other factors.
And I compare to California only because I came from there, and coming from California, honestly, we didn't run our AC very much. You have coastal breeze at 70s most of the time. Even when it does get hot, is it really worth it to pay all that much?
He was in a good part of California.
Yeah, maybe, but coming here during the summer, our AC is running like 24/7.
Always.
Right. So, but because we were newer builds, a little bit more efficient. So
the next one's talking about foundation issues. So if you are coming from a state where foundation issues are not really a thing, be prepared. Every house here in Texas, you just need to be aware of our soils. We have clay soils, pretty dense clay soils. So when it dries out, it shrinks. When we have a more wet season, it expands and it tends to move the foundation a little bit. So be aware of that, but also be aware of that there are pockets within DFW where the soil is healthier and better, or the builds are stronger and better. And so you can't assume that, this house over here is going to have the exact same potential issue as this one over here. Obviously, that gets more into the nitty gritty of like searching and getting on property and showings. And if it's me that is with you, I've had 2 houses with lots of foundation issues, so I know exactly what to look for now. But there's telltale signs of like, oh, is this just a little bit of settling and we're good to go? Or hey, this is going to be a problem, or this is a problem area. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah. So what it says, there's a good chance if you're buying a resale, either maybe some signs of settling, but that's not necessarily to be a concern. We just want to know what level of settling and what level of issues that foundation has, right?
Every house will have a little bit of give.
Yeah.
That's the reality. But once it gives too much, it's a problem.
Right, yes. The next is choosing the right house versus choosing the cheapest house.
We've been talking about this a lot. So a lot of times we want the deal. It's human nature. We look for the cheapest house, right? Because we're like, oh, this is a steal. I'm so excited. But sometimes the cheapest house actually causes more issue. Maybe it's not the best neighborhood. Maybe your commute is not great. Or maybe in my case, again, I learned the hard way, you end up kind of getting a lemon and you're having to while your payments were cheaper, you were having to out of pocket make continuous improvements. So I typically tell my clients, hey, I want to find a healthy house for you, good bones and a healthy fair market price. That doesn't mean that we can't make an offer that's more of a deal, but like if we negotiate and we land on just a healthy price, that excites me because you know that you can walk away excited about your purchase and where you'll probably land financially.
Yeah. And you talked about this on another video, but you got a good deal on an older home, but after moving into it, you had plumbing issues.
It wasn't a good deal.
Pipes, right? Roof issues, and you kind of told the story. Basically, $60,000 later, within a 4 or 5 year period, you look back on it now and go, maybe it was worth paying an extra $150, $200 per month at a slightly better price point, but newer home, and it would have still netted you probably $30K back in your pocket over that 5-6 year period.
Yep, exactly. Not budgeting for Texas weather.
Yes. So what you mean by that is, it's summer right now. We're headed into August, and it's been almost 100 degrees, if not 100 degrees, every day for the past couple weeks.
We've been doing pretty good until now.
Yeah. But all that to say is you're probably going to have your AC running almost 24/7, right? You're going to have fans running in your house. All your appliances are going to be a little bit on overload, so that is going to affect the electricity bill. Yeah. What else would you think of?
I think it's just wear and tear too with the heat. Things can wear down a little bit more here. So overall maintenance for the home can become a little bit more difficult. This has nothing to do with the home. This is just someone that was born and bred in Minnesota for the first 10 years of her life. When I came down here, I remember it was like 60 degrees and people had like hats and scarves on, jackets, and I was like, these people are crazy. Let me tell you, after being here all this time, under 70, you're gonna see me in a jacket. Your blood thins out or something to adapt. So it's just a different environment, right? But it's not that bad. We have great mild winters, so there's give and take. I mean, we still have a relatively nice fall, a relatively nice spring, but you do need to understand it gets a bit more expensive in the summer.
And you brought this up before, but also I think another one is, especially with these older houses, insulation and older windows that don't necessarily keep heat in or keep heat out during the summer and winter months. And so those are things you just need to be thinking about ahead of time if you are buying an older home and displaying pros and cons. So next one is we put believing every move-in ready home is actually move-in ready.
So you can walk into a house and it looks beautiful. They've painted, the floors are good, all that, you know, you're visually what you can see, you're very happy with. But we also need to be looking at the age of the roof, the HVAC system, the plumbing, foundation, any electrical updates, the mechanics of the house. Because there's a lot of times where a house can look pretty, but there's a lot of aged, large ticket items in that house. And so yes, you can move in, you can put your furniture down, but you know, 2 months mid-July when your AC that's 15 years old decides to go out, you're not going to be super happy that you just paid premium for this move-in ready and you're now spending $10K on a new AC unit. So that is just something you have to vet each house. Even if it's beautiful, you need to vet the house.
And then last I think we put falling in love maybe with a community, city, neighborhood without actually visiting. And I think this is a big one because
it kind of wraps us back up
Texas
to number
is
one.
So massive that one city, you drive 15 minutes away from it, it's just a completely different feel, right? So I mean, you have like downtown Dallas, which attracts a lot of young working professionals who may or may not be married. You have the suburbs, right, who may, you know, now you've got younger families, or Fort Worth, which is a slower pace of life than Dallas. So, you know, we focus a lot on Grapevine and Colleyville.
And even Grapevine and Colleyville are two different feels.
Very two
and
different.
They're right next to each other.
And so go ahead and watch those other videos because we dive deeper into those cities, but come actually visit it for a week or a weekend. Go to local restaurants, check out the schools, where are you going to be shopping, what are the driving routes, and does it feel like home to you? Because I think that's almost a bigger deal than finding the right house, because the right house in the wrong community, neighborhood, city is going to end up being, I think, more of a downer than finding an okay home in a place that you actually love.
Agreed. Also, this is just a bonus tip. We're going to end the video here, and this is a little bit of my humor coming out, but there's not cowboys on every corner. There's really not.
Yes, Texas, we're not a bunch of, there's, that's what I thought too. I thought everyone would have
everybody,
Wranglers on and cowboy hats.
Now, what I will say, if you see them in Dallas, they're not a real cowboy, most likely. In Dallas, they just like to be. If you see them in Fort Worth, they might
probably
be. They could be a real cowboy. But okay, guys, thank you so much for spending time with us. We hope that helped you as you come to Texas, and obviously we'd love to connect with you and actually understand your situation and help you land in the right place. So we'll catch you soon. Thanks.